Okay, here's the project for tonight. We have this piece of turquoise and this absolutely amazing piece of opal. One of the brightest stones I've ever cut. The light in here is crap and you can see that the stone's amazing. So I've been trying to find a piece of turquoise that I liked enough to go with it. The gold tonight, and this one's got some character. It's got a pit right there, but I don't know. I like the color of blue. I like the matrix in this one. So what I want to do is do a stacked pendant. So this one set like that one set like that, roughly, but hanging. This one hanging on a separate piece below this one. So that's kind of the goal. So I'm going to start by making the bezels, and then I'll kind of decide what to do from there. So I think bezel material right here. This one right here, obviously. Okay, marker right there. Cut it there, clean it up. I'll do the same thing on the opal. No point in watching me do the same thing twice. It's the same process, but I got to get a good, nice, tight, solid bezel for both of them. Probably need to get one of those little carbide. Actually, I have one for knife making. I wonder where it's at. Where I could get clean, straight, parallel edges on. I mean, we can get close enough by eye and by hand, but it occurs to me that I have the correct tool in my knife making arsenal of tools. It would just be a matter of trying to remember where in the world it would be. All right. All right, let's check and see if our opal bezel fits. Looks like pretty good fit. It's probably a little looser than I would like it to be. I like to work it around a wood block to get the shape refined before it gets soldered down to a base plate. By then it's too late to adjust the shape for the most part. Alright, so I'm trying to decide how exactly, how busy this should be, how much. I'm kind of leaning toward just doing the turquoise and the opal on their own. And I made 6 links. They're in the pickle right now. I was going to do 2 at the top, 2 to connect them, and then 2 on the bottom piece. But now that I look at these, I think these are small enough pieces that I think a single link dangling from underneath it is what we're going to do. Although I might do something on this one. A couple of raindrops or something like that. So maybe I'll cut this plate a little bit bigger and include a little something on it. That's what I think we'll do. So if you want to see kind of how I might do that, I kind of need some silver teardrops or raindrops about the same size. So we can always add more. Let's start with, see what we get with those 2. Alright, we'll start with this plain one. I'm wanting to use some hard solder here because I've got to weld the bail and the links to it without pulling the solder out. So we're going to dry that off. We're going to get our solder here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a couple on the outside. Just hoping to get and let's see if we can solder that. And to bring it up to temperature slowly and evenly. I think that was successful. All right, I got the smaller piece out of the pickle. Looks like we have a good solder all the way around, so I trimmed all the edges off with the shears, and then I'm going to stop talking so I can make this a different clip where I can turn the volume down on this Dremel so it doesn't deafen you, but I'll show you briefly how I use the Dremel to clean that up a little bit. It'll take a little bit of file work to get in around those raindrops to clean those up, but you can see that's kind of how it works. All right, there you can see the links that I made. You can see this piece relatively cleaned up. I'm thinking about changing my mind. This was going to be the bottom of the piece. Oops. This was going to be the bottom and the top piece up here hanging off of a loop, but I might actually have this be the top with the link right here. Right here in the center connecting the two. What do you think? Bottom or raindrops up, bottom just being the... I think we're going to stick to that. Changed my mind back. So the links right there, all I did is just twist them around a dowel, sawed them in half, then they're in the pickle. Now I will, when we solder them onto the back here, I will actually solder them closed. So we'll have one on the back of the big piece, one on the back of this. I was thinking about doing, the reason why there's 6 is I thought I was going to do 2, but I just think that'll be too much. I think a single link in this one to the top one will be enough. That way the links don't become overwhelming because it's not a very big piece. That's what I'm thinking right now. All right, so here's our bigger piece. That one came out of the pickle really nice. We got a really nice solder on that one. I like the way it looks. Now we can clean it up because I wasn't planning on doing anything extra here. We'll just trim that up. We'll have a bail on the top and a link on the bottom to link the bottom piece. Yeah, I just think that unless we did the bail here and we still did 2 links, but I think that's what we're going to do is we're going to do that. Like it's an arrow pointing down at the opal or something like that. But this is just a matter of just take the shears. Super easy. Super soft after being annealed several times during the soldering process. I just trim it relatively close to the edge. I don't want to get in there and get too close and cut out the solder joint, but the solder joint should go all the way through anyway. The rest of it I clean up with the Dremel, just like I showed you on the other one. This one should be super easy and quick. Then we'll flip them over, figure out how we're going to do the links, and solder them on and hope we don't ruin the previous solders. I did use hard solder on all these solders that we did, so that the other stuff with easy solder should go pretty good, knock on wood. Clean that one up on the Dremel now. Okay, so it would be something like that, hung about that far apart with the links that I have made here. See if I can pick one up. I might try to do a smaller link for the center. And then I can either do this type of bail or this type of bail. Does it hang down too far? I almost think we need a smaller link right there for the one tying the two together. I think that'll be too far apart. What do you think? So what I think we'll do is we'll take the rounding pliers and try to make us a smaller link. It needs to be fairly round or it's going to look funny, but it's also got to be able to be separated so I can put it on there and solder it. So I think we'll do something like that and we'll get it more round. So now we'll solder the two pieces onto those two pieces and then solder this one to link the two together. All right, I think that was successful. All right, so now we got to link this one to this one. Okay, the difficulty is going to be soldering that link together, but without soldering the links together. Without soldering the other links together. That's probably more solder than we need for that little joint. We don't want any extra on this one. Let's see, what are the chances of that working? Shouldn't take much. I think we just got it. Okay. All right, so there we are before polish. Should hang about like that. We'll polish it a little bit more, set the stones, and then polish it again. I think I pulled off what I was going for. I don't know if it's good or bad, but that's kind of what I had in my mind. All right, well, this one came out just exactly, though the one last night was a disaster, but this one came out exactly as I had it in my head, other than I modified it and did it a little bit smaller with only a single dangle instead of two, which I think is the right decision. If these had both been bigger pieces, two would have been perfect. But let me show you now the finished product. It's all relatively polished and cleaned up and that stuff, and my favorite that I've done so far. All right, there it is. Pivots a little bit there. It's kind of a semi-rough piece of turquoise with a pit there and a pit there, but that's turquoise. I love the color of blue. I've always loved this opal right here. One of the best ones I cut. It's nothing but fire. Not directional, very bright. All the colors. There's a little bit of pitting in those silver balls. I need to flux them and clean them better next time, but I don't mind it. The reflection looks like that bezel's not pushed up against the opal, but it is. If you look at it closely, it is up against it. It just, the reflection makes it look like there's a bigger gap there. But anyway, there's the opal finally in a home, paired with a piece of turquoise, and I will wear that. I'll wear it tomorrow. Tell me what you think. It's harder than you think to film like this.